You like a little level up, huh? you see us. You see what's going on. Hey, y'all, we back. You see the little level up we got going with the intro and things. Even in the midst of season 3, as we've called it, we're still adding new things to the show, as you see. And we got that great intro made that I've been working on with some family and things. That's part of why you see the little clothes in the back. I came back from a trip literally hours ago, so pardon the things in the background, but definitely glad to be back and enjoyed the time that I was away for the quick moment. Weddings and things I was going to, but definitely glad to be here. And we're back today to talk about Winning Time, where as we've been doing, tracking the whole season. We're episode 4 now. It's another great episode, and yeah, I just thoroughly enjoyed it. I won't talk too much yet, but Alec, what were your first thoughts on what we just saw?
Yeah, I loved it from start to finish. Loving how this season is how the series is playing out, because it's a limited series, but loving how it's playing out. I think we got another peek behind the curtain, I guess, of how they put together this this offense for this dynasty. So that was cool. But yeah, well, let's get into it.
Let's start at the top. And the title of the episode is who the fuck is Jack McKinney, and that definitely is what the main issue was this episode, figuring out who this new coach was going to be as they scrambled to find a replacement to Jerry West, and then to Tark the Shark, or whatever his name was. My apologies, but finally replaced it to him after he decided not to join the Lakers because of the killing of his close friend that we saw in the last episode. So now with Jack McKinney at the head of the team, everybody with him being thrown in at the last minute was just trying to figure out who he was. And he was known to be a solid coach. He was an assistant for Portland and prior to there. Was known for his schemes and had a grand vision for the Lakers that took a lot of guys some time to adapt to. And we saw that both on the court with the players, and then for some of the guys, even Jerry West, who advocated for him to be there. It took some time for everybody to get on board with the things that he had planned for this squad. So definitely was interesting with him. What did you think of his introduction to the show?
Yeah, I thought, like, as soon as he was introduced and just talking about when he sat them down in the room at the hotel for film session, and was just breaking it down like mathematically, the time of possession and how quick or how slow it was for them to get a shot up. It was just making me think of like Mike D'Antoni's like 8-second offense. I was like, he had the Mike D'Antoni blueprint, like
exactly all the analytics and all of that introduced already. So he had that vision early on and was trying to get the team to embrace it. It took some guys, and a lot of guys on that squad at the beginning weren't really feeling it. So definitely interesting to watch. And it started at the top. Guys like Kareem weren't embracing Jack's antics at all. Jack and his McKinney mile we saw early on. Kareem didn't want to run that on the fast pace and the idea of having the offense flow like water, which is something that McKinney presented multiple times. He wanted the ball to McKinney to move, but when Kareem get the ball, he's like, "I'm the greatest player of all time. I got the sky hook." He had that moment early on where they were in practice and he shot the sky hook, and he was like, "Hey, this is a sky hook." And he was like, "Yes, but when the whole team is standing around watching you, it's not helping this offense as it needs to." So, it took a minute it's taking some time. It's going to continue to take some time as we continue to see for Cap to embrace Jack and his philosophies. But definitely was interesting to see how they went back and forth, and then how the rest of the team was reacting to Jack and his desires for the squad as well.
Yeah, I had on my list that Kareem kind of had a stick up his ass most of this episode, but it's also kind of just how they've portrayed him so far throughout the series. It seemed like obviously everybody's got rookie duties usually in the league, but he was hard on Magic in this episode with his rookie duties, bringing him his OJ
juice right, and then the OJ was finally right, and Magic stepped up to him like, "Hey, I'm gonna get this juice right for you," and he's like, "Oh, this is the newspaper I wanted," and he just could never be fully satisfied. So it's always something with him.
He didn't want to like run drills or whatever, and then we got a tease at the end of this episode for the next one, and him and Magic are going like squared up, toe to toe.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because that's we've talked about the show itself, doing a lot more in-depth look at what we're watching. In regards to the acting and all of that. And while as actors they're great, I know it's hard to go and find some other 7-foot dude that looks just like Kareem and can act and all that kind of stuff. But in that little preview and other times in the show, when Kareem's talking to guys and he's face to face with them, I'm like, he wouldn't be face to face with these guys. He'd be towering over them because Kareem's supposed to be taller than him.
Right,
so it's just little things like that where they don't fully hide that this guy that's portraying Kareem. Apologies for not getting his name, but for him not fully being the same stature of Kareem. I noticed that on occasion and just kind of laugh at it. But outside of that, I think he's doing a great job.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think the acting alone has been great from everybody in this series, and who they're portraying. It has definitely like come through on the screen. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing more of. I mean, we got a glimpse of the team kind of figuring it out a little bit in that last practice when Jerry West.
Let's not skip too far ahead. While I do want to point that out, let's start with how it kind of got to that point though. They had that first practice, and we had Kareem that we've mentioned was pushing back on some of Jack's philosophies and some of the things he wanted the guys to do and getting in shape and all of that. And a lot of other guys believe the same thing, that they didn't want to embrace that style either. I forgot who that main player was that kept going back at things. Who's that
the
one
guy
player
that was like who wasn't guaranteed?
Correct.
I mean, I'm not sure. I didn't catch his name. Yeah.
Right, I missed his name too. There was one main
sure
player.
Cut, though, so.
Right. And my apologies for missing his name, but there's one main player who was not feeling things and tried to get other guys to rally behind him. And not embracing the things, even going to the extent of getting. I think it seemed like it was 12, 13 of the other guys, including Norm, to go talk to Jerry West. Jerry West was the guy that brought Jack McKinney on board, and that was the guy he advocated for, and Jerry hired last minute. So they went to Jerry, as Jerry was still involved with the team and wanted to be in practice and all of that. And they went to Jerry trying to get some solutions. And it just showed that they were very frustrated with how things were going. They had that whole shower scene, essentially, or locker room scene. They're all standing around talking about how they weren't feeling the new style of play and wanted Cap to be the one to step up. And Cap was just like whatever, and kind of just went about his things as he did. And that led to their approach to of Jerry. But they all definitely felt a way about Jack's style. And Jerry had to go to Jack and get it all worked out. And there had to be some give on both sides. Yes. Jack has new philosophy, and it was last minute. He's trying to put it all together. This might not be the team he wanted either, and we'll get to that also. He's piecing everything together, and he has great philosophy. At the same time, he has to understand that they are still humans too. And Jerry West went to him trying to explain that, like, hey, you gotta give these guys some leeway and give them some chances to be themselves still and learn. They can't learn just that fast. Just seeing how they both had to adapt to each other, what was great to see. And what'd you think? Now getting to where you were at, what'd you think of their embrace at the end and the first flashes we started to see of Showtime?
Well, I was gonna say that like struggling to like earn the respect was kind of a theme for multiple characters in this episode, because McKinney was seeking to earn the respect of not only the team but also the executives. I mean, going back to even before he got the job offer, like he was already saying to his wife he wasn't going to take it because if it goes wrong, he's worried about that. And then Magic was seeking to earn the respect of his teammates as well too. Like he was, again, we forgot or didn't catch that dude's name who wasn't guaranteed, but he kind of called him out being the rookie and trying to insert himself in that locker room. And guys didn't take too kindly to, even though he's the Michigan State star, you're still a rookie, like in our eyes kind of thing. And him and Norm have had that already, that dynamic since episode 1. But we finally saw, as you alluded to, with them gelling in the end, we finally saw Norm kind of lighten up to Magic and then eventually end up defending him from the night.
Exactly. It was a quick flip, but I liked it. I like seeing how Jack brought that new style to them and allowed them to both be on the same team and how quickly they clicked together. So I definitely enjoyed that.
And in a sense, like it was kind of like Jack was like coaching for his life at that point, where it was like the last second, like, let me see what these 5 do together. And then it just like worked like they've been playing together for 10 years all of a sudden kind of thing. But I mean, when you got like guys like Magic and Kareem and Michael Cooper and Norm Nixon, like it was gonna work. Like once you put that talent together, so
put the right pieces on the court and it'll all come together properly. So I'm glad you figured that out. And it definitely was fun to see. But to that point, right before we got to that point, you talked about Magic and his frustration, and we saw that scene of him calling Cookie, and how he was on the phone with her trying to explain how He wants everybody to have fun, and he has this lighthearted spirit essentially to him, and wants the best of folks. But may not realize that he rubs people the wrong way at times. And Cookie tried to explain that to him, and he kind of snapped back at it. He's like, "Yo, using some old word. Like, what you talking about?"
Yeah, no, he was very disrespectful in that moment.
Yeah. He lost it in that moment and snapped. Yeah. So yeah, what do you think of that dynamic? And I know we know what's actually going to happen. Right. Just in the rest of the show, how do you think Magic is going to mend that bridge that he just broke for a moment?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that was a pretty like small element of this episode, but I mean, it just made me like wonder like when they patched things up, how they like came to the point where now like they're a loving couple. I mean, maybe they're not. We don't know. We only know what we see. We only know what we see like on the television or on social media. So, but it made me think like I wonder how they like were able to reconcile, because they had a seemingly tumultuous relationship, even though they had love for each other.
Right. Magic was still on his Playboy, but also wanted to love her at the same time, and it just kept bumping into each other. So definitely was an interesting thing to see how they continue to work things out. And then on the topic of Playboy, seeing how Jeanie started to see Jerry's vision and wanted to better put that on the court. I mean, at first they had the very they called it Disney-esque approach, and how they wanted the Disneyland style and all of that, and that would not have sold in the way that Jerry wanted it. And Jeanie had to go and be like, "Hey, this ain't it. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I ain't really feeling this. We gotta adjust it and liven it up and bring it more so into my father's liking." And her going through Jerry's books and seeing all the pictures of the Playboy stuff and flashbacks to when she was a kid and saw him sitting at the table with the girl and doing X, Y, and Z and all that kind of stuff. Understanding who her father is and accepting that reality, and then being like, "Okay, this is who he is. This is what he wants. We can put this together in a way that can sell in the grandest of ways in the forum." So yeah, seeing how she put it all together definitely was fun. So what do you think of Jeanie's involvement in this episode?
Yeah. I mean, basically in summation of what you just said, it was like she basically was reckoning with the fact that her dad was a womanizer, and it was something that she knew and saw from the time she was young, but I guess was kind of like coming to terms with it now that like she's an adult woman and working for him, and but with that, she knows him and she knows what he wants, so she was able to turn that vision, that Rolodex of respectable young women. She was able to turn that and flip that into the vision for the Laker girls and the forum, and making it a show for people to come and see, and then the celebs and all that, and combining, what was it, Disneyland, Playboy, and the Hollywood Bowl or whatever.
Hollywood Bowl, correct.
As soon as he heard those three words too, he was all in too.
So. Yeah, he all in, definitely. Yeah. So definitely was fun. And then the other thing that caught my attention, what do you think of Jeanie off that gas?
Oh yeah. No, it was funny too, and it was like it showed up on the screen because she said, "I've spoke to you before too." And it was like, no, she hasn't.
She has not. The cap on this app right here.
Yeah, she's absolutely capping. But we know Jeanie was about that life for sure. As we said, she was a deal closer.
Buss,
so
definitely salute to her for putting it all together. And to the point about deal closer, also you reminded me. There's also this scene where they're trying to figure out the financials of it all. I mean, I guess Jeanie finally, after overhearing things early on, wanted to get more involved in what was happening with the forum and all that, and went to her grandma, who was essentially the accountant for Jerry, and was like, "Hey, be honest with me, what's going on?" And she got some details on it, and then they were able to use that to go to her mother, and get her to sign off on some things to, I guess, pass some of the debt or pass the ownership over to her.
Because he's like a silent owner right now.
Correct.
Yeah.
So yeah, she definitely has played her part and helped put things together that will help this team going forward. And yeah, salute to her for her involvement. So yeah, it definitely was another great episode. Loved all angles of it, and yeah, excited for what's next. Any other comments on what we just saw?
I would just add that I love the ending, like how they ended it when it was like it's Showtime, like right after.
Of course. Oh yeah.
It was perfect way to close it, cap it right there. And
it was great.
I'm excited for the next episode.
It's been great for these first 4 episodes. I think it's really going to gear up again now that we're getting into the real stuff that's going on with the team. I think it's really going to get fun now. So as Jerry said, it's definitely Showtime. And then to your point about what we already kind of saw in the preview, looking at how it's Showtime, but it doesn't mean it's going to be all perfect. Seeing how it's all coming together, and Magic and Kareem going at each other. Magic might have hit Kareem with that Will Smith slap or something like that. We'll see. But we'll see how it's going to take some time for them to fully get Showtime to click. I'm excited for episode 5 and beyond. So definitely continue to be a great series, and looking forward to what's next. So I think that's it for both of us. Another great reaction to episode to Winning Time. Look, continuing to love what they're putting out for us. Great show there that I'm thoroughly enjoying. Love that we're getting some positive Laker news beyond what our team is doing for us right now. So definitely continue to appreciate them. Thank God for Winning Time, as I said before. And just continue to look forward to these episodes every Sunday night. So we'll be back next week as we continue to do for these reactions to the show. Midweek, we'll have our own reactions to other things as well. We'll be discussing March Madness and NBA and all that stuff as we did. We will get back to that all NBA list. We saw a lot of reaction to that. Y'all had some words for us, and that's fine. We can take the criticism, but we'll get back to you and update things as the season continues to go on. The season ain't done yet, so we're allowed. It's a fluid list, as Stephen A. says. It's fluid, so we'll definitely get that right. Things go on as well as other things. So definitely a lot of fun stuff coming up in Section 300. I appreciate you guys so much for sticking with us, man. So that's all we got today. Again, thank you for tuning in. Follow us online on IG and TikTok at Section.300. Follow us on Twitter at Section Sports. A lot of good stuff going on there. A lot of good conversations across the board. I'm G. Follow me at Just Say G. Out at LakersGame24. Subscribe to the show wherever you watch or listening to us on podcast streaming services. And we appreciate you guys, man. We out of here. Peace.
Doses.